Jay-Z is done for. People are saying the impossible just happened. The Diddy nightmare didn't just touch the Carter empire, it just kicked down the front door. We're talking about allegations involving a 13-year-old girl and a lawsuit that has the entire industry screaming game over. This isn't gossip anymore. This is a legacy collapse happening in real time. The internet is spinning because Beyoncé's silence is deafening, and folks are realizing the King of New York might be the next domino to fall. Everybody thought they knew the full story about Diddy. We thought Jay-Z was just the guy on the sidelines, the smart one, the business mogul who knew when to leave the party before the lights came on. That was the version everyone repeated for months. Jay moves different, they said. Hav is too calculated to get caught up in this mess. But now, that untouchable narrative just got twisted into a pretzel. New legal filings have dragged his name straight into the mud, and suddenly, that distance he kept, it looks a lot less like business savvy and a lot more like a cover-up. The whole narrative is flipping. We aren't looking at a bystander anymore. We are looking at a co-star in the biggest scandal in music history. And let's be real, the energy shifted. You can feel it on the timeline. You can feel it in the comments. People aren't protecting the brand anymore. They're questioning the man. When you have allegations this dark, involving minors and power abuses, the billionaire cool factor dissolves instantly. We are watching the armor crack, piece by piece, right in front of our faces. And for the first time in 20 years, Jay-Z looks worried. Let's get into the evidence, because this is where the internet detectives are absolutely losing their minds. And I mean losing it. We aren't talking about random TikTok rumors anymore. We are talking about legal paperwork. TMZ just dropped the bombshell that has everyone freezing in their tracks. A civil lawsuit connected to the Diddy saga was amended, and Jay-Z's name is right there. Not in the footnotes, not in the background, right there. The allegation? It involves a 13-year-old girl, identified only as Jane Doe, and an incident that allegedly took place back in 2000 during the VMAs in New York City. Now, pause. Let that sink in. The VMAs. This was peak Roc-A-Fella era. This was the era where Jay and Diddy were running the city. And now, decades later, this specific date is coming back to haunt them. Fans online turned into full-blown investigators the second this news broke. They are pulling up old photos from that night. They are slowing down frames of red carpet footage. They are zooming in on who was standing next to who. And what they are finding is making people sick. The claim is that Jay-Z and Diddy allegedly assaulted this minor. And while Jay-Z's team has come out swinging, calling the allegations complete nonsense and accusing the lawyer of a shakedown, the damage to the court of public opinion is already catastrophic. Why? Because of the specifics. Online detectives are pointing out that this isn't a vague "he was mean to me" story. The allegation has details. It has a location. It has a context. And for anyone who doesn't know, civil suits work differently than criminal cases. The burden of proof is different. But in the court of public opinion, an accusation involving a 13-year-old is a nuclear bomb. And it gets even crazier. People are connecting this lawsuit to the recent Piers Morgan interview disaster. Remember when Jaguar Wright went on national television and straight up called Jay-Z a monster? She compared him to Diddy. She said they were two sides of the same coin. At the time, Jay's lawyers shut that down fast. They forced an apology out of Piers. They scrubbed that segment from the internet. But now, folks are looking back at that moment and asking, was she warning us? The internet is obsessed with patterns, and the pattern here is terrifying. You have the rumors that have floated for years. Then you have the Diddy indictment exposing the freak-offs. And now you have Jay-Z named in a lawsuit that sounds like it was ripped straight from a horror movie script. Let's look at the timeline the fans are building. They're digging up old interviews where Jay talks about his lifestyle back then. They're analyzing the lyrics from that era, looking for confessions hidden in the bars. There's a specific focus on the big pimpin' video shoot and the culture surrounding it. Fans swear that the behavior celebrated in those videos wasn't just acting. They think it was documentation. And check this out. People are bringing up the Jane Doe aspect. Usually, when a celebrity gets sued, the fans attack the accuser. They call them a liar. They dig into their background. But this time, the vibe is different. The comment section isn't defending Jay. They're saying, "We believe it." They're saying it was only a matter of time. That shift in loyalty is massive. It shows that the trust is gone. Online sleuths are analyzing the legal strategy. Jay-Z's lawyer, Alex Spiro, is a heavyweight. He's the guy you call when you want to crush a problem. He issued a statement saying this lawyer, Tony Busby, is just looking for a payday and the allegations are baseless. But here's the thing. Usually, a strong denial kills the story. This time, though, it just added fuel to the fire. Why? Because people are asking, why is Diddy silent? Diddy's in jail. He's fighting for his life. Jay is out here fighting for his reputation. And the fact that their names are linked in the same lawsuit creates a psychological link in everyone's brain now. You can't think of one without the other. There are threads on Twitter right now with thousands of retweets comparing the power structure of Bad Boy and Roc-A-Fella. They are drawing diagrams of who worked for who attended whose parties, who signed whose checks. It's like a digital RICO case being built by millions of people at once. And let's be brutally honest about the 13-year-old detail. That number is sticking in people's heads. It's the kind of detail that you can't spin away. You can't PR your way out of that visualization. Even if Jay-Z beats this case legally, which he might, the stain of the accusation is permanent. Folks are zooming in on old pictures of Jay-Z from 2000. They're looking at his eyes. They're looking at his body language. They're projecting everything they know about the Diddy case onto him. It's a psychological transfer of guilt. If Diddy did it and Jay was his best friend, then Jay must have known. That's the logic running the internet right now. This isn't just a lawsuit. It's an unraveling. It's 20 years of boss mythology being stripped away to reveal something much darker underneath. And the scary part is, this is just the first specific allegation. The internet believes this is the dam breaking. One crack and the whole wall comes down. Now, let's get into the motive and the backstory, because this is where everything starts clicking into a terrifying picture. This isn't random bad luck. This feels like a reckoning that has been building since the 90s. Why is this happening now? Think about it. The music industry is in a state of absolute panic. Diddy's arrest wasn't just an arrest, it was a signal. It was the feds saying nobody is too big to fall. And when a giant like Diddy falls, the shockwaves don't stop at his property line. They travel to everyone he stood next to. And nobody stood closer than Jay-Z. For years, people have whispered about the blackout parties, the ultra-exclusive events where phones were banned, NDAs were signed at the door, and the real business happened in the shadows. We aren't talking about the Rock Nation brunch where everyone takes cute photos for Instagram. We're talking about the after parties, the ones that started at 4 a.m., The motive for the public turning on Jay-Z isn't just about this one lawsuit. It's about a decade of suspicion regarding how he accumulated so much power. Let's keep it real. That kind of rise to $1 billion doesn't happen without stepping on people. And the internet has been keeping a list of people Jay allegedly stepped on. You have the artists who claim they were shelved. You have the producers who say they were never paid. You have the strange business deals that left partners broke while Jay walked away richer. That narrative, the ruthless capitalist, was celebrated for years. It's just business, we said. But now, that ruthlessness is being reinterpreted as something predatory. If you look at the backstory of the Jay-Z-Diddy relationship, it's deep. They weren't just peers, they were the two kings of New York. They collaborated, they invested together, they celebrated together. They created the blueprint for the hip-hop mogul. But here's the dark side of that blueprint. People are now asking, was the fame the product, or was it the cover? Was the billionaire status a shield? Because if you have $1 billion, you can make problems disappear. You can settle lawsuits quietly. You can hire the best fixers. You can control the media narrative. But Diddy had money too, and it didn't save him. That is why the industry is terrified. The money isn't working anymore. The fixers are scared of getting indicted themselves. And Jay-Z, for the first time, looks exposed. There's a theory circulating online that this is a correction. Fans are pointing out that for years, Jay-Z has been moving like a ghost. No interviews, no tweets, just rare appearances where he looks down from a balcony. That God complex worked when the mystery was cool. But now that silence looks like guilt. It looks like he's hiding. And let's talk about the CEO resignations. Have you noticed how many high-profile CEOs and music execs have quietly stepped down in the last 6 months since the Diddy raid started? It's an exodus. People are retiring early. They're spending more time with family. The internet believes this is the cleanup. They think the industry knows the ship is sinking and the rats are jumping off. And Jay-Z, he's the captain of the ship. He can't jump. He is the face of the establishment, so he has to stand there and take the waves. Put all that together, it looks like the perfect recipe for a total collapse. You have a public that is tired of the elite getting away with everything. You have a legal system that is finally cracking down on the entertainment industry, and you have a specific target, Jay-Z, who represents everything people are angry about right now. The wealth gap, the silence, the power. And it gets worse for them. There's a financial angle here too. If Jay-Z's reputation tanks, the empire stops printing money. The deals with the NFL, the luxury brands, the alcohol companies, they don't want to be associated with a scandal involving minors. We saw how fast corporate America dropped Kanye. We saw how fast they dropped Diddy. Do you think they will hesitate to drop Jay-Z if the heat gets too hot? Absolutely not. The backstory here is also about gatekeeping. For 2 decades, Jay-Z has been the ultimate gatekeeper. If you wanted to make it in hip-hop, you had to kiss the ring. But now, the artists he gatekept are talking. The people he blocked are whispering. The fear is gone. When the fear leaves, the truth comes out. And honestly, looking back at the footage of Jay and Diddy laughing together at those parties, it hits different now. It doesn't look like 2 guys having fun. It looks like 2 guys who knew secrets that would destroy the world if they ever got out. And the motive for these lawsuits coming out now is the look-back window. New York and California passed laws allowing victims of sexual abuse to sue regardless of how much time has passed. That legal window opened the floodgates. That's why Diddy got hit. That's why Jay is getting hit. The statute of limitations didn't save them. So this isn't just about one girl in 2000. This is about a legal change that suddenly made the past actionable. Jay-Z is fighting a war on 2 fronts. He's fighting the legal system and he's fighting his own history. And the history is long. Fans are digging up the Roc-A-Fella split, the Dame Dash beef. Why did they really split? Dame has been saying for years that he didn't like the vibe of certain people Jay was around. At the time, we thought Dame was just bitter. Now, people are rewatching Dame's interviews and hearing warnings. "I'm not cut like that," Dame would say. "I don't play those games." "What games, Dame?" What games were you talking about? The internet thinks they know the answer now. They think the games were exactly what is described in this Jane Doe lawsuit. And that realization is shattering the image of Jay-Z as the good guy in that breakup. Maybe Dame wasn't the crazy one. Maybe he was the one with a conscience. That kind of narrative flip is devastating. It changes how you hear the music. It changes how you see the legacy. The motive for the public's obsession is betrayal. They feel betrayed by the image they were sold. And when the public feels betrayed, they don't just stop listening. They want blood. They want to see the giant fall. But here's the part that really hits different. The one who got caught up in the middle of all this is Beyoncé. And we need to talk about her because her silence is screaming louder than any press release. Think about the position she is in. This is the woman who wrote Lemonade. She bared her soul to the world about betrayal, about forgiveness, about fighting for her marriage. She built a narrative of resilience. She stood by him when he cheated. She stood by him through the elevator fight. But this isn't cheating. This isn't Becky with the good hair. These are allegations of heinous crimes involving a child. And that changes everything. You can see it in the way the fans are talking about her. For years, the Beehive was a militia. They would attack anyone who dared to speak against the Queen or her husband. But right now, the Hive is quiet. They're confused. They are hurt. Imagine being Beyoncé right now. You are the most powerful woman in music. You have 3 beautiful children, Blue Ivy, Rumi, Sir. You have built a legacy of excellence. You represent Black excellence to the entire world. And now, every time you open your phone, you see your husband's name next to the words sex trafficking and minor. That is a level of psychological pressure that is impossible to describe. People are looking at her silence not as strength, but as a trap. Is she trapped? Is she staying because of the business? Is she staying because she's scared? Or does she know? That's the question that hurts the most. What does Beyoncé know?
Because if she knew, and she stayed, that destroys the hero worship. That makes her complicit. And that breaks the hearts of millions of women who looked up to her. But if she didn't know, then she is living in a nightmare. She's sleeping next to a stranger. The leaked footage and the photos of them at parties, people are analyzing her face now. They are saying, look at her eyes. She looks tired. She looks checked out. We are projecting our own fears onto her. But the reality is, she is a mother first. Think about Blue Ivy. She's old enough to read the internet. She's old enough to see the TikToks. She's old enough to hear the whispers at school. Did your dad really do that? That is the true tragedy here. The collateral damage isn't just album sales. It's the innocence of those kids. They didn't ask for this life. They didn't ask for these secrets. And people are remembering the elevator incident with Solange. We all laughed about it. We made memes. Solange was fighting for her sister. But now, that video looks terrifying. Solange was furious. She was attacking Jay-Z with a rage that didn't make sense for just cheating. The internet is asking, what did Solange know back then? Did she see something? Did she hear something? Was she trying to protect her sister from something much darker than an affair? That context makes the elevator video one of the saddest things to watch. It looks like a family being torn apart by secrets they couldn't say out loud. And Beyoncé standing there, frozen, not moving, just watching. That stillness is what we are seeing now. She hasn't posted. She hasn't spoken. She is just existing in the eye of the hurricane. And for the fans, that silence is heartbreaking. They want her to leave. They want her to take the kids and run. They are commenting, "Save yourself, B. Get out while you can." They are treating her like a hostage in her own empire. And that's messed up, because whether she's a victim or an enabler, she's watching her entire world burn down in public.
And there is no VIP section that can protect you from that kind of pain. Now, this whole situation gets even crazier when you realize the internet isn't just looking at this one lawsuit. They are building a master timeline of red flags that we all ignored. This is round 2 of the evidence, and this is where the pattern becomes undeniable. Let's talk about Foxy Brown. For years, people have whispered about Jay-Z's relationship with Foxy Brown when she was undeniably young. We're talking mid-90s. Reports and rumors have circulated forever about her age when she was first brought into the circle. People are pulling up her birth certificate online. They are matching it to the release dates of Ain't No and other tracks. The math is making people uncomfortable. Fans are posting side-by-side timelines saying, wait, she was how old when he signed her? She was how old when they were allegedly dating? It's the same pattern as the Jane Doe allegation, a significant age gap, a power dynamic where he's the boss and she is the talent. Then you have Aaliyah. The internet is obsessed with the Aaliyah connection, the photos of Jay and Aaliyah hanging out, the rumors that he tried to court her before Dame Dash, and then the R. Kelly connection. We cannot talk about Jay-Z's history without talking about the best of both worlds. Jay-Z did not just do a song with R. Kelly, he did 2 albums, he did a tour, and this was after the R. Kelly sex tape allegations were public knowledge. This was after the world knew about the marriage to Aaliyah. Jay-Z knew, the industry knew, but Jay still partnered with him. He still stood on stage with him. He still validated him. Fans are digging up clips from that tour. They're finding interviews where Jay defends the collaboration, saying it's about the music. That excuse doesn't fly in 2024. People are saying, if you were willing to overlook R. Kelly's behavior for a check, what else were you willing to overlook? It establishes a pattern of prioritizing profit over morality. It establishes that Jay-Z had no problem being in business with predators. And for anyone who thinks this is a stretch, look at the NDAs. There are rumors floating around about the sheer number of NDAs, or non-disclosure agreements, that float around the Carter camp. Former employees, former dancers, former party guests. Why so much silence? Usually, where there's smoke, there's fire. But where there are 1,000 NDAs, there is an inferno. Fans are resurfacing old jokes from comedy roasts and radio shows. You know, those moments where a comedian says something crazy about Jay or Diddy and the audience laughs nervously. Those clips are going viral now. Like the clips of Wendy Williams back in the day. Wendy was screaming from the rooftops about Diddy and Jay. She was calling them out when nobody else would. People called her crazy. They called her a hater. Now, people are calling her a prophet. They are stitching her old radio segments on TikTok saying, Wendy told us, we didn't listen. And let's look at the Roc Nation brunch photos again. Detectives are analyzing the guest lists. They are noticing who stopped getting invited. They are noticing who suddenly disappeared from the circle. There's a theory about the sacrifice. The internet believes that whenever a big story is about to break, a distraction happens, or someone gets sacrificed to save the king. Was Diddy the sacrifice? Did the powers that be decide that Diddy was too loud, too messy, and had to go so that the others could survive? But the plan backfired because Diddy didn't go quietly, and now the spotlight has swung to Jay. Let's talk about the Jaguar Wright factor again. She has been naming names for years, and for years she was dismissed as mentally unstable. But recently, she predicted the Diddy raid, she predicted the downfall, and she has been screaming Jay-Z's name the loudest. She claims there are tapes, she claims there are witnesses, she claims that what we are seeing now is just the tip of the iceberg. And honestly, people are starting to believe her. When you have a verified lawsuit matching the crazy lady stories, she stops looking crazy. She starts looking like a whistleblower. And check this out, the clean scrub of the internet. Fans have noticed that certain articles, certain photos, and certain videos involving Jay and Diddy are disappearing. Links are dead, 404 errors. People are screen recording their searches, showing that results are being suppressed. They swear that a digital cleanup crew is working overtime to erase the connection. But the internet is forever. The Wayback Machine exists, screenshots exist, and every time something gets deleted, it just proves to the fans that there is something to hide. Why delete it if it's innocent? That's the question that is haunting Jay's team. The sheer volume of coincidences is overwhelming. The Foxy Brown timeline, the R. Kelly partnership, the Diddy friendship, the silence of the victims, the NDAs. It's not one thing, it's the weight of all of it. And when you stack it all up, it looks like a system designed to use young people, extract their talent, and silence them if they complain. And Jay-Z wasn't just in the system, he was the architect. That is the conclusion the internet has reached, and once the public decides you're the villain, no amount of PR can change the script. We are watching the Teflon Don get scratched, and underneath the Teflon, it looks rusty, it looks dirty. This round 2 of evidence isn't about proving a specific crime in court. It's about proving a character flaw to the world. And right now, the character of Jay-Z is being assassinated by his own history.
And this is where the side characters become explosive, because this story is dragging everybody into the mud. It's not just Jay and Diddy, it's the whole ecosystem. Lori Harvey enters the conversation. People used to treat Lori Harvey like pure internet gossip, the it girl, the one who dates the hottest guys. But now her name is being pulled into darker speculation, tied to Diddy's social world. Remember, she dated Diddy, and she dated his son. That whole situation was messy back then. But now, people are looking at it through the lens of trafficking and control. Was she just dating, or was she being passed around the circle? That is a dark question, but it's one people are asking. And notice her moves lately? She has gone silent. She is locking down, distancing herself. The timing of her unfollows, the way she pivots her brand, it all looks like evasive maneuvers. Online chatter claims it wasn't random proximity, it was placement. And whether that's true or not, the point is this: the internet believes nothing around that circle is accidental. Then you have the Steve Harvey silence. And then the public starts side-eyeing something even harder. Why is Steve Harvey so quiet? A man known for speaking on values and protection. A man who has a quote for everything. A man who is on TV every single day. Now saying nothing? That silence is getting interpreted as fear. Is he scared of Diddy? Is he scared of Jay? Or does he know too much about what happened with his daughter and that crew? When the loudest man in the room goes quiet, you know the trouble is real. Let's talk about Meek Mill. Oh man, Meek, he has been spiraling on Twitter, or X, for months, denying rumors, fighting with trolls, offering $100K to anyone who can prove he was involved in Diddy's activities. But his frantic energy is making people suspicious. Why are you so guilty acting, Meek? Jay-Z is his mentor. Jay-Z signed him. Jay-Z got him out of prison. If Jay goes down, Meek is left unprotected, and Meek knows it. Fans are analyzing Meek's tweets like they are cries for help. They think he's panicking because he knows the tapes exist. He knows what happened at those parties. And Usher wiped his entire Twitter history the day the Diddy news broke. He claimed he was hacked. Yeah, right. Nobody believes that. Usher lived with Diddy when he was a teenager. He saw the beginning of the empire. He saw the Puffy era turn into the Diddy era. If anyone has the receipts, it's Usher. And his silence, his deleted tweets, that screams panic mode. It's like a domino effect. Kevin Hart, LeBron James, all the guys who were at the brunch, all the guys who were laughing in the photos. They are all looking at their PR teams right now asking, am I next? Do they have a photo of me? Did I sign something I shouldn't have? The paranoia in Hollywood is at an all-time high. You can feel it. The red carpets are going to be empty. The parties are going to be empty. Nobody wants to be seen. Nobody wants to be tagged. And let's be real, the Roc Nation brunch is dead.
It's over. You will never see that gathering again, because that gathering is now evidence. It's a crime scene photo. The side stories are important because they show the scale of the fear. If this was just about Jay-Z, maybe the others would speak up to defend him. They would say, Jay is a good guy. I've known him for years. But nobody is saying that. Nobody. They're letting him twist in the wind. That tells you everything you need to know. In this game, loyalty ends where the indictment begins. And right now, everyone is just trying to survive the fallout. The cool crowd has become the suspect list, and watching them scramble is the wildest reality show on Earth. Here's what makes this bigger than celebrities. This story is turning into a public trial of the entire industry. What we're seeing here is the death of the gatekeeper. For 50 years, the music industry relied on silence. It relied on the fact that if you wanted a career, you had to play the game. You had to accept the abuse. You had to go to the parties. You had to sign the NDA. Because if you didn't, the gatekeepers would crush you. Jay-Z, Diddy, the execs, they held the keys. But social media broke the lock. Now, a girl with a TikTok account can destroy a billionaire's reputation in 24 hours. Jaguar Wright can go live on Instagram and reach more people than CNN. Power doesn't just win awards anymore. Power is being decentralized. And the people at the top are terrified because they can't control the narrative. They can't buy the silence anymore. This is the Me Too movement for hip-hop finally arriving. It took a long time. It was delayed. It was suppressed. But it's here. And it's ugly. People are realizing something terrifying. The culture they loved was built on the suffering of victims. We danced to the songs. We bought the sneakers. We idolized the lifestyle. But we didn't ask what was happening in the VIP room. Now the lights are on, and we can see the blood on the floor. This Jay-Z situation is a warning to every powerful person in Hollywood. The era of untouchable is dead. If they can come for Diddy, if they can come for Jay-Z, nobody is safe. And honestly, that's a good thing, because power without accountability is dangerous. And for too long, these men had absolute power. We're watching the industry being forced into daylight. And once it's in daylight, everybody who benefited from the darkness starts sweating. This isn't just about a lawsuit, it's about a cultural reset. We're deciding as a society that the music isn't worth the abuse. The Carter empire might collapse. The bad boy legacy is already ashes. But from those ashes, maybe a safer industry can be built. One where 13-year-olds aren't seen as parks for the bosses. That's the bigger conversation, and it's the one that matters most.
So now we're at the most dangerous part of this whole story. Jay-Z is denying it hard, calling it false, calling it damaging, even pushing that if a crime occurred, it should be criminally pursued, which is a bold bluff, basically daring the DA to step in. But here's what the public thinks. This isn't going to end clean. Because this isn't just a legal battle, it's a reputational execution. And the scariest possibility isn't a courtroom outcome, it's this. What if more names come out? What if more Jane Does step forward? What if there are receipts? What if someone flips? Because the moment one insider breaks silence, the entire industry becomes a crime scene. And if Beyoncé decides she's done protecting the kingdom, if she decides that her legacy matters more than his, it won't be messy, it'll be surgical, it'll be career-ending. It'll be the kind of move that makes people say, the queen didn't leave, she burned the whole chessboard. We are one headline away from the end of the Carter dynasty, and the world is holding its breath. So now it's on you. Do you think this is just another headline that'll fade in 48 hours? Or do you think this is the beginning of the biggest celebrity collapse we've seen in years? Because one thing is obvious, the party is over and the cleanup is going to be brutal. Drop your thoughts right now. Do you think Jay-Z is getting targeted or exposed? Is Beyoncé already planning her exit or her revenge? And who do you think is next to get pulled into the fire? Make sure you subscribe and hit that bell because this story is changing every hour and I'm keeping you plugged in. Stay safe, stay woke. Peace.